All right, guys. So Megan's still asleep. I've been watching Leon. He's playing with his toys in his crib right now. I set him down for just a second because I had to prank Megan. It's April 1st. I have to. I mean, it's tradition. So let me show you. I've got some baby food here. Oh, I love April Fool's Day. All right, here we go. Oh, and saran wrap. Oh my God, her mouth is open and everything.
What are you doing?
Good morning, it's April Fool's Day.
That's awful. What are you
Oh gosh. April Fool's Day.
So Mr. Cody wants to play with saran wrap, does he? Well, two can play at that game. All right, boys and girls. So he won't even see this coming. Here we go. Let's see. Hold this little phone right here. Wait for it. Okay. We're gonna take the saran wrap. We're gonna cover this toilet seat. Man, this is gonna be so funny. Let's hope I don't drop this phone in the toilet. That would not be a funny prank, would it? Alright guys, here we go. So we're gonna take this here saran wrap. And we're gonna, if you've ever worked with saran wrap, you know it's a little bit tricky to use. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna hold you guys up here for a second. Can you see anything? What can you guys see? Uh-oh. Okay, I don't know what you guys just saw, but here we go. We got the saran wrap here. We're gonna make it nice and tight. There we go. All right. Now, here we go. Wait for it. Nice and tight. We want to make it look like there's nothing there. What do you think? How'd we do? You think he's gonna see that? Oh yeah, can't even tell. Babe, where you going?
I gotta pee.
Do you guys remember the saran wrap? Mr. Cody's going to the bathroom.
Oh my gosh! Oh, it's everywhere! Who would do this? Megan!
We're making some chicken salad for dinner, Bubba.
Hey, May. May, what did you say you needed?
I need the 2 boiled eggs out of the top of the refrigerator, please.
All right.
Some chicken salad. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Add some eggs to it. It's gonna be so good. Come on, babe. 2 boiled eggs, please.
Here you go.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
Oh my, Cody! Boiled egg.
Look at her face. April Fools. Leon's not entertained, but I'm entertained. I think this is. Look. Hey guys, I'm just checking in. I hate that I did not get to celebrate April 1st, April Fool's Day, with some of my favorite people. I'm sure you had plenty of fun pranking your siblings. I have had a blast pranking my wife. I mean, I'm trapped in this house all day and all night. Some pranks are gonna happen. It's just the way it is. But, you know, we still can't go to church. We still can't hang out. It's a bummer. I miss y'all so much. But it is a new month, which means we have a new life app, a new memory verse, and a new lesson. We're going to be focusing a lot on Easter and about what Jesus did for us on the cross. And today's lesson is about before he went to the cross to give up his life for us so we could be in heaven with him forever. for those who have made him the boss of their life. That's what today's lesson is going to be about. But first, before we get into all that, I just want to go over the memory verse in person. And if you memorize the memory verse, go ahead and post that. Post that on comments or something so that I can see that you know it. I can give you some dojo points. I'm not getting very many of my students sending me their memory verses, so don't be afraid to just send it to me in a message, a Facebook post, a comment, anything. I'd love to see that you're learning your memory verse. Let me share with you what the memory verse is this week. It's Philippians 2:3, and I'm going to read it directly out of the Bible. So it says, Philippians 2, chapter 2, verse 3 says, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility consider others as more important than yourselves." I'm always telling you, Jesus wouldn't ask us to do something that that he didn't already do himself, and he very much put himself last, that he put others before him. So our life app for this month is humility. The word humility. And the definition of that now is putting others first by giving up what you think you deserve. And I see something back here. And what are you... Hold on. What are you doing? Is that ice water?
Let's get more ice water on your head.
Why?
Because I deserve revenge.
For the saran wrap thing?
Yes, and the egg. You have been pranking me all day. I deserve
The egg was funny.
revenge, but I guess
You're gonna show some humility?
Yes, I'm gonna show humility.
And give up what you think you deserve?
I'll
okay.
give up.
You're
give up
She's
what
the
I
big. She's the bigger person. I'll admit, I don't think I would have been a big enough person to not prank you, but
I'll let it go this time.
there's a point here, though. This ends what could have been a very vicious cycle. She pranks me, I prank her. Eternity. Some of you may know my good friends, Mr. Chris and Mr. Jared. We don't prank each other because once we start, it never ends until our wives get involved and shut it down. So we don't prank each other. So I'm glad that she was the bigger person.
I'm the bigger person this time.
The prank war is over. The lesson's about to start. Our life app is humility. Guys, you have to do it. Jesus did it. He was our example. Let's try to be as much like Jesus as we possibly can. Let's give up what we think we deserve, whether it's an extra turn or an extra dessert or, I don't know, revenge. Let's give up what we think we deserve. Let's put other people first. Let's truly think about other people's feelings before we speak or act. I hope y'all can practice that while y'all are shut in and self-isolating. Y'all have a great day. I love y'all, okay? Bye.
Thank you.
Yep. Hello, so-and-so friends.
Hey to you and all of our viewers.
From near
and far.
Welcome to the So-and-So Show.
I'm John.
And I'm Brandon.
And we have got a show for you today.
That we do. Why don't you tell them about it, John?
Oh, no, my friend, after you.
I insist.
No,
After you.
I insist after you. It's time to play a game we call After You!
And now for everyone's favorite game show, After You.
This is a game that requires humility, where you want to put the other person first. So, after you.
What am I supposed to do?
We're going to balance a cup of water on a book on our heads.
Okay.
Water balancing.
After you! Yes!
Holding your breath in a bucket of water.
After you!
Standing on a box while being hit with a palm frond.
After you. After you. After you. After you.
Nope.
Whoa. Whoa.
Keeping a grape in your mouth.
What does it have to do with humility?
What?
I said, what does this have
Oh! After you!
Thanks for playing After You.
What a great game.
Was it?
Yeah, I'm so much more humble than you. I put you first every
You
time.
did not put me first.
Sure I
No,
did.
you did not.
Sure I did. You were the first to drop the water, the first to choke on a grape. I put you first in the game, which makes me first in putting you first. Wait a minute. Maybe I should have put you first by telling you to put me first. But if you put me first, because I let you put me first, I'd still be first at putting you first, which means, oh! It was you who were putting me first all along. Well played, Brandon. Well played.
Uh-huh. It's Bible story time with Kellen.
What's up, guys?
Not too much, Kellen. Just being soups humble.
Oh, yeah? Well, then I've got a story for you.
After you, Kellen.
No. I'm humble.
Thank you. Our story picks up just after Jesus shared what he knew would be his last supper with his disciples. His heart was very heavy, so Jesus led his disciples outside to a place called Gethsemane, a kind of garden with olive trees. And Jesus asked Peter, John, and James to keep watch so he could pray. The disciples sat and waited, tired after a full meal, while Jesus went off by himself to pray to God. It was not a happy prayer. Something very bad was going to happen to Jesus that night, and he knew it. He was so sad, so anxious, and he prayed to his Father in heaven with all his might.
My Father, if it is possible, take this cup of suffering away from me. But let what you want be done, not what I want.
He prayed this way for what felt like an hour. But when he returned to his friends, he found them sound asleep.
Couldn't you keep watch with me for 1 hour? Watch and pray. Then you won't fall into sin when you are tempted. The spirit is willing, but the body is weak.
3 times, Jesus asked his disciples to stay awake while he prayed, and each time, his friends fell asleep. And then, it happened.
Are you still sleeping? Look, the hour has come. The Son of Man is about to be handed over to sinners. Get up. Let us go. Here comes the one who is handing me over to them.
The disciples watched horrified as Judas, one of their friends, came up to Jesus, followed by a large crowd armed with clubs and swords.
Greetings, Rabbi.
Friend, do what you came to do.
Judas went to Jesus at once and kissed him. This was Judas' signal to the armed men that Jesus was the one they should arrest. When they saw the signal, they grabbed Jesus. That's when Peter leapt into action. Peter took out a sword and lifted it. He swung the sword at the servant of the high priest and cut off his right ear.
Yeah. Go, Peter.
Woo! Yes! And then Jesus' disciples fought off the armed men and brought Jesus safely back home. Thanks for the story, Kellen.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not exactly what happened.
Oh, don't ruin this happy ending for me, Kellen.
So Peter cut off the servant's ear. But then, before things got completely out of hand, Jesus spoke out to the angry crowd.
Put your sword back in its place. All who use the sword will die by the sword. Do you think I can't ask my Father for help? He would send an army of angels right away. But then, how would the scriptures come true? They say it must happen in this way.
Then Jesus touched the man's ear and healed him. But Jesus' disciples, his friends, ran, leaving Jesus alone. He was arrested and taken away. To be continued.
That's not happy at all.
I know, but that's what happened. In fact, things got even worse after that.
Worse?
I don't get why Jesus was arrested in the first place. He didn't do anything wrong.
True.
And if he could have called an army of angels to save the day, why didn't he do that?
Well, it's like what Jesus said when he was praying. He told God, "Let what you want be done, not what I want." Sure, he didn't deserve to be arrested. And sure, he could have easily done something miraculous to save himself. But Jesus knew that God had a bigger plan, so he put God first. And really, by putting God first, he was putting us first, because we were the reason God sent Jesus in the first place.
Oh, so it is a happy ending?
You'll have to wait until next time to find out.
Ah, rats!
Or, you could ask somebody how it ends, or read it in the Bible. It's a very famous story.
Great idea, Kellen. Thank you for the story.
Yeah, thanks.
No problemo. I'll see you guys later.
Later. Okay, so now we know where to turn to find out how to put others first.
Yeah, the After You game!
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, right. Jesus!
Jesus put his friends first, even though they fell asleep when they should have been keeping watch.
His enemies, too. He actually healed one of the guys who came to arrest him.
He put everyone first, which brings me to a question.
Oh, reveal the question!
How do you put others first?
By letting them order before me at a restaurant.
Oh, yeah, or by watching what someone else wants to watch on TV.
See, that's why you sat through 14 hours of baking shows with me last week.
Yeah, and I still don't know what fondant is.
You know what? You win, friend. You win, my friend. You are definitely the most humble person
Not
alive.
a competition.
Well, you're number one.
No.
You're number one. You're number one. No, you're putting me first, so I'm number one. No, you're number two. You're number two.
Talk about it together.
You're number two.
How do you put others first? And we'll see you next time on the So-and-So Show. Can we go now?
Oh, after you.
Okay.
See? Now I'm number two. I'm number two. I'm number two. Wait. Ancient Romans used to use grapes as earplugs.
I can't hear you. I've got a grape in my ear.
I have a grape in my ear. I can't hear you. Do you know what they used to use grapes for as well? Like so. When they swim. Oh, you knocked one of my... I can hear. I can hear.
Goodness.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. And now for an amazing story, inspired by the book of Matthew, chapter 26, verses 36 through 56.
For months, the Jewish religious leaders had been plotting to silence Jesus.
He called us pretenders, snakes!
On the Sunday before Passover, Jesus entered Jerusalem to great cheers from the crowds.
Blessed is the one who comes in the name of the Lord!
But even as the crowd swarmed in to see what Jesus would do and say, one of Jesus' closest followers, Judas, went to the religious leaders with a very sneaky plan.
What are you willing to give me if I deliver him over to you?
How about a cool 30 pieces of silver?
Jesus knew these plans, but he also knew that his mission was to face those who hated him and let them take him without defending himself. He prepared his closest friends for this during a Passover meal, and then afterwards led them out of the city toward the Mount of Olives. Judas had already left them.
In a little while, you will no longer see me. Then after a little while, you will see me. I came from the Father and entered the world. Now I am leaving the world and going back to the Father.
The air cooled as the evening darkened.
This very night, you will all turn away because of me.
Peter, the most outspoken of Jesus' friends, quickened his step and tightened his hand on the sword he was carrying.
All the others may turn away because of you, but I never will.
What I'm about to tell you is true. It will happen tonight. Before the rooster crows, you will say 3 times that you don't know me.
I may have to die with you, but I will never say I don't know you.
Me too. Same.
By the time Jesus and his friends reached the Garden of Gethsemane, they were exhausted.
Sit here while I go over there and pray.
As the other disciples settled in on the cold, rough ground, Jesus took Peter, James, and John along with him to a grove of ancient olive trees. The weight of what was coming pressed down on him.
My soul is very sad. I feel close to death. Stay here. Keep watch with me.
We're here for you.
We got this.
Prayers. The 3 friends found seats among the knotted tree roots, and Jesus went on a little further. Then suddenly, he fell down on the ground, face first into the dirt. Words poured out from deep inside.
My Father, if it is possible, take this cup of suffering away from me. But let what you want be done, not what I want.
After a short time, Jesus returned to his friends. They had all fallen into restless sleep. Jesus touched Peter's arm.
What? Huh? We're just praying.
Couldn't you men keep watch with me for 1 hour? Watch and pray. Then you won't fall into sin when you are tempted. The spirit is willing, but the body is weak.
We'll stay awake this time.
Got you covered. Again, Jesus threw himself down to pray. His pain was so deep, blood and sweat beaded on his forehead.
My Father, is it possible for this cup to be taken away? But if I must drink it, may what you want be done.
Jesus returned to his friends once more, to find them still sleeping. The agony in his spirit forced Jesus to lay his heart out to God once more. He prayed the desperate words again, begging God to take away what was coming, and at the same time, revealing his complete trust in God's plan.
Let what you want be done, not what I want.
At last, Jesus knew the time had come. He returned to find Peter, James, and John buried deep in sleep. Beyond them, his other followers slept too.
Are you still sleeping and resting?
The disciples struggled through a fog of sleep, blinking and yawning. Below them, torchlight showed an angry mob climbing up the hill. The men were waving swords and clubs, shouting as they came.
Look, the hour has come. The Son of Man is about to be handed over to sinners. Get up, let us go. Here comes the one who is handing me over to them.
Jesus' friends staggered to their feet, and Peter clutched his sword. As the mob marched closer, they could see the man in front of the mob. It was their friend Judas.
Judas? What are you doing?
The mob had been sent by the Jewish religious leaders. Judas had already explained to them that he would greet Jesus with a kiss, so they would know exactly which man to arrest.
Greetings, teacher.
Judas ignored the other disciples and went directly to Jesus, kissing him on the cheek in greeting. Jesus drew back and looked Judas directly in the face. Friend, do what you came to do. The mob surged forward as the disciples just stood there, frozen and confused. As men grabbed Jesus, Peter suddenly sprang to life, awkwardly drawing his sword.
Should we use our swords?
Peter didn't wait for an answer, but he struck out wildly. His blade sliced right through the ear of the high priest's servant.
Oh!
Stop this! Jesus touched the servant's ear. Immediately, he was healed.
Put your sword back in its place. Do you think I can't ask my Father for help? He would send an army of more than 70,000 angels right away. But then how would the scriptures come true? They say it must happen in this way.
Jesus turned back to the mob and the men who held him. They hovered there, uncertain, in the flickering light of their torches.
Am I leading a band of armed men against you? Do you have to come out with swords and clubs to capture me? Every day I sat in the temple courtyard teaching, and you didn't arrest me. But all this has happened so that the words of the prophets would come true.
No one could respond to Jesus. Instead, they arrested him and led him away. And his friends who said they'd be with him through anything ran away. Jesus made the choice that would bring life to everyone, but that would cost him everything.